Venus will transit the sign of Cancer from June 8 to July 4, 2026. This is roughly a 26-day window, and what makes this particular transit stand out is not Venus alone, but the powerful combination of planets already present in Cancer and those that arrive as the transit progresses. It's important to highlight that these interpretations are based on sidereal or Vedic astrology, which considers a roughly 24-degree variance from the tropical zodiac. The most crucial factor to understand from the start is that Jupiter entered Cancer on June 2nd, just days before Venus arrives. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, meaning it is operating at its highest possible dignity in this sign. In Vedic astrology, when a planet is exalted, it gives results at its most capable and most generous level. Jupiter is already the most benefic planet in the entire system, and when exalted, it becomes an exceptional source of positive outcomes. So Venus does not step into an ordinary sign when it enters Cancer. It steps into a sign already energized by the strongest version of the most beneficial planet in the sky. That context shapes everything about this transit. Venus itself represents love, beauty, desire, relationships, comfort, and wealth. Cancer is a sign ruled by Moon, and it carries the energy of home, mother, emotional security, nourishment, and care. Venus is not in its own sign or exaltation sign in Cancer, which would normally moderate the strength of its results on its own. But with exalted Jupiter already present, that consideration becomes much less significant. When Venus transits Cancer, the natural pull is inward and domestic. People find themselves drawn to their homes, their families, and their closest relationships. There is a greater desire to create warmth in daily life, to spend meaningful time with loved ones, to improve living spaces, and to nurture the bonds that matter most. Venus in Cancer is not loud or dramatic. It is soft, protective, and quietly generous. With exalted Jupiter sitting alongside Venus throughout this transit, that quiet generosity gains real strength and opportunity behind it. Jupiter in Cancer has been bringing genuine optimism, wisdom, and stable conditions since its entry in early June. When Venus joins this energy, the combination touches several areas of life at once. Relationships that have been building steadily can reach a point of warmth and genuine resolution. Financial conditions improve, particularly those connected to home and property. Family matters that needed patience and goodwill find exactly the right environment here. The presence of exalted Jupiter amplifies every positive result Venus can produce and gives those results more depth and durability. Anyone who has been considering real estate decisions or any kind of home-related investment will find this transit period well supported by the combined energy of these two benefic planets. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter, forming what Vedic astrology calls Saraswati Yoga. This is the simultaneous presence of all three naturally benefic planets in the same sign. Mercury is the planet of communication, intelligence, writing, learning, and practical planning. Its arrival changes the character of the transit in a very useful way. The period from June 22nd onward becomes especially productive for creative work, writing projects, content creation, teaching, skill development, and any kind of meaningful conversation that combines emotional depth with clear practical thinking. Mercury helps translate what the Venus-Jupiter combination has been building emotionally into something that can be expressed, planned, and acted upon with clarity. Business discussions, family-related financial planning, and professional communication that requires both warmth and precision all become notably stronger during this window. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer, and this retrograde runs through the final days of the Venus transit before it ends on July 4th. Retrograde Mercury tends to slow communication, bring unresolved past matters back to the surface, and make careful review more important than fast decisions. The energy during these last few days is better suited to reflection, revision, and correction rather than finalizing anything major. Documents, agreements, and significant commitments are better managed after Mercury goes direct. This is not a problematic ending to the transit, but it does ask for patience and a deliberate slowdown rather than urgency. Overall, the Venus transit in Cancer from June 8th to July 4th, 2026 carries genuinely good energy for home, relationships, family, and personal well-being, and that energy is significantly elevated by the presence of exalted Jupiter throughout the entire period. The Saraswati Yoga from June 22nd brings added intelligence and creative strength. And the closing retrograde asks for thoughtfulness rather than haste. This is a transit that rewards emotional maturity, sincerity in close relationships, and a steady focus on what makes daily life feel genuinely worth living. Venus represents love and activities that bring joy. As Venus transits through different houses for approximately 25 days, it signifies an increased inclination towards activities associated with that specific house. The final outcomes may vary based on the dignity of Venus in the birth chart, but the common thread is an affinity towards engagements related to the house Venus is currently transiting. Venus primarily influences the Moon and Mercury and is relatively susceptible to the influence of malefic planets such as the Sun, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. To accurately assess the impact of these transits, it is crucial to consider your ascendant and moon signs. The ascendant sign offers insights into the timing of life events, while the moon sign reveals how you will emotionally respond to these changes. Take into account the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current dasha period. This transit may manifest differently for each individual, and how they navigate this transit will depend on their personal charts. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining Venus's Ashtaka Varga score in Cancer. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit are contingent on Venus's interaction with the planets in individual birth charts. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Venus Dasha may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, Cancer falls in your 4th house. This is the house of home, mother, emotional peace, real estate, and the foundation of your personal life. Venus rules your 2nd house of wealth and family through Taurus, and your 7th house of relationships and marriage through Libra. When Venus enters your 4th house, it is simultaneously carrying the energy of wealth, family, and relationships into the most personal and grounded space of your chart. The most immediate and practical result you will notice is a strong desire to beautify your home. You may want to rearrange furniture, buy new soft furnishings, add decorative elements, or simply make your living space feel more comfortable and aesthetically pleasing. This is a genuine Venus impulse, and there is nothing wrong with acting on it. Even small improvements to your home environment will bring a noticeable lift to your mood and your sense of daily well-being. Since Venus also carries the energy of your 7th house into the 4th, your relationship naturally gravitates towards home during this period. If you are in a committed relationship or marriage, the most harmonious and warm interactions with your partner will happen at home rather than outside. Cooking together, spending a quiet evening in, sitting and talking without distraction, all of these home-based moments carry a special quality of connection during this transit. Couples who have been drifting apart in terms of daily warmth and affection can find a genuine renewal during this period if both people are willing to stay present. For those not yet in a committed relationship, the 4th house Venus can bring someone warm, family-oriented, and emotionally stable into your world. The setting is often domestic or community-based rather than a dramatic or glamorous encounter. Your mother becomes a very significant and positive figure during this transit. Venus in the 4th house naturally draws attention and affection towards the maternal figure in your life. You may feel more appreciative of your mother, more willing to spend time with her, or more able to bridge any emotional distance that had built up. If there are health concerns around your mother, this period can bring positive movement, or simply a more caring and attentive dynamic. Now consider that Jupiter is already sitting exalted in Cancer in your 4th house. An exalted Jupiter in the 4th house is one of the most stable and grounding placements possible for Aries. Jupiter has been expanding your sense of home, deepening your emotional stability, and broadening your connection to family and real estate matters since June 2026. Jupiter rules your 9th house of fortune and higher learning, and your 12th house of spiritual retreat, through Sagittarius and Pisces. When Venus now joins this exalted Jupiter in your 4th house, you have 2 natural benefic planets working together in your most personal house simultaneously. Practically, this means real estate decisions and property-related activities carry positive energy during this period. If you have been considering buying a home, finalizing a rental agreement, or making a significant investment in property, this transit provides a genuinely supportive window. If you were already midway through a negotiation, Venus joining Jupiter can bring a smooth and satisfying resolution. Renovation work begun during this period tends to produce results you will be happy with. The joint presence of Venus and exalted Jupiter in the 4th house also brings a deeply settled quality to your emotional world. You are less reactive, more willing to let small irritations pass, and genuinely more patient in your closest relationships. This is the kind of emotional groundedness that allows you to have important family conversations you may have been postponing. Take advantage of this window to clear the air gently or to plan something meaningful with your family. Religious and spiritual activities connected to the home are also highlighted. Jupiter in the 4th house can bring a sense of gratitude, ritual, and higher meaning into the domestic environment. You may find yourself drawn to practices or gatherings at home that have a philosophical or spiritual quality. From June 22nd onwards, Mercury enters Cancer and joins both Venus and Jupiter in your 4th house. Mercury rules your 3rd house of communication and your 6th house of daily routine and service for Aries. When Mercury arrives in the 4th house, family conversations become more frequent, more purposeful, and more warmly engaged. You may find yourself discussing home plans, financial arrangements within the family, or simply catching up with siblings and relatives in a way that feels unusually enjoyable. The Saraswati Yoga formed by Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury together in Cancer in your 4th house is particularly powerful for any intellectual or creative work done from home. If you work remotely, study, or are involved in teaching or content creation, the period from June 22nd to around June 29th can be unusually productive. The mind is sharp, the home environment is pleasant and settled, and your motivation to create and express is genuinely high. This combination in the 4th house also supports home-based business ideas with educational or financial themes. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer. From that point until the Venus transit ends on July 4th, communications within the home or family may slow down, encounter some confusion, or bring up unresolved matters from the past. Old family conversations left incomplete may resurface. Documents related to property or home purchases may need revision. This is not a serious problem, but it does mean you should avoid signing important real estate documents or finalizing major home-related agreements during these last few days of the transit. Overall, for Aries, this Venus transit in Cancer is a warm and deeply nourishing period for home, family, emotional well-being, and relationship harmony at the domestic level. The exalted Jupiter amplifies every positive result that Venus can bring here. Invest in your home environment, spend meaningful time with family, and allow this period to strengthen the emotional foundation of your closest personal relationships. For Taurus, Cancer falls in your 3rd house. This is the house of communication, skills, hobbies, courage, short-distance travel, siblings, and the daily actions and efforts you take to move your life forward. Venus is your 1st house lord, ruling both your 1st house of self through Taurus and your 6th house of daily service and routine through Libra. When your own 1st house lord enters the 3rd house, your personality, your personal charm, and your sense of identity flow very naturally into how you express yourself and how you relate to your immediate environment. The most immediate practical effect of Venus in the 3rd house is a softening and beautifying of your communication style. Your words become warmer, more inviting, and more pleasant to receive. People enjoy listening to you during this period, and they are more open to your ideas. Whether you speak, write, present, or create content in any form, there is a natural charm and relatability to everything you put out during this transit. For those working in any creative or expressive fields such as writing, design, photography, social media content creation, or even sales and public relations, this is one of the most productive windows of the year. The ideas flow with less resistance than usual, the quality of what you produce feels genuinely inspired, and your willingness to put things out into the world increases. If you have been sitting on a creative project or hesitating to share your work publicly, Venus in your 3rd house removes that hesitation and replaces it with confident self-expression. Your relationship with siblings becomes noticeably warmer during this transit. If there has been any distance, awkwardness, or unresolved tension with a brother or sister, Venus here creates a natural opening for that to ease. You may find yourself reaching out more easily, or they may come to you. The quality of these interactions is affectionate and supportive rather than guarded or surface level. A sibling may also bring a genuinely helpful opportunity or piece of information your way during this transit. The connection between siblings during Venus in the 3rd house often has a practical dimension as well as an emotional one. Short-distance travel during this period tends to be pleasant and productive. If you travel for work, to attend events, or simply to meet people in your local area, these journeys tend to go smoothly and can open new doors. Do not underestimate the value of a local meeting or a casual conversation during this transit. Some of the most genuinely useful connections you make during this period may appear in ordinary and unplanned circumstances. Now Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your third house, and this makes the entire arena of communication, effort, and skill unusually energized for Taurus. Jupiter rules your 8th house of research and other people's resources, and your 11th house of income and gains. An exalted Jupiter in the third house has been expanding your courage, your desire to develop new skills, and your inclination to start new ventures since June 2026. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter, it adds personal charm, creative energy, and social relatability to everything Jupiter has been building there. Practically, the Venus and Jupiter combination in the third house is genuinely supportive for business-related efforts, especially if your business or work involves knowledge sharing, counseling, communication, creative skills, or anything where your personality is the primary tool. Your courage to initiate conversations, propose ideas, and take action on things you have been planning increases significantly during this period. The 11th house energy Jupiter carries here means that business efforts and skill-based activities can translate directly into financial income and meaningful gains. This combination also supports the development of new skills. If you have been thinking about learning something new, taking a course, or developing a technical or artistic ability, this is an excellent period to commit to that. The learning comes more easily and sticks better during this transit. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your third house. Mercury rules your second house of wealth through Gemini and your 5th house of creativity and education through Virgo. When Mercury joins the Venus-Jupiter combination in your third house, the Saraswati Yoga is formed in the most action-oriented house of your chart. This window from June 22nd to around June 29th is exceptionally powerful for launching new professional communications, putting creative work forward publicly, pitching your services, reaching out to potential clients or collaborators, or having important business conversations. The second house connection Mercury brings here also means that financial conversations can go particularly well. If you are negotiating a payment, discussing your rates, or presenting a financial proposal, this is one of the best windows of the year to do so. Travels during this period, even short local ones, can bring direct financial benefit or lead to productive professional meetings. If you have been meaning to visit someone or attend a local industry event, do not delay it. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer. Because Mercury rules your wealth house, this retrograde can bring some delays or unexpected complications in payments, agreements, or plans already set in motion. Avoid signing contracts related to business or financial dealings between June 29th and July 4th. Something that needs review or revision is fine. But finalizing important monetary or legal agreements should wait until Mercury goes direct. Old conversations about money, siblings, or skills-related opportunities may also resurface during this retrograde window. Overall, for Taurus, this Venus transit in Cancer is a warm, active, and genuinely rewarding period centered around your communication abilities, creative skills, business courage, and the relationships in your immediate environment. The exalted Jupiter gives you both the conviction and the opportunity to benefit from your efforts. Use this period boldly and invest in the connections and skills that can support your long-term growth. For Gemini, Cancer falls in your second house, which is the house of wealth, family, savings, speech, food, and your immediate family circle. Venus rules your 12th house of expenses and foreign matters through Taurus, and your 5th house of romance and creativity through Libra. When Venus enters your second house, it brings all three energies together, and the most visible effect is felt in your finances, your family life, and the quality of your daily domestic atmosphere. Starting with the most practical dimension, Venus in the second house for Gemini brings a genuine pleasantness to the family environment. There is more warmth in daily conversations at home, more willingness to gather together, and more affectionate energy between family members. If you are someone who tends to stay mentally busy and somewhat disconnected from family life on a daily basis, Venus in the second house gently pulls your attention back to those people and those relationships in a way that feels natural rather than forced. Your speech carries a special charm during this transit. People respond well to you in conversation. Whether you are negotiating, presenting an idea, asking for something, or simply making casual conversation, the warmth and pleasantness in your delivery makes you easy to receive. This is a practical advantage worth using deliberately in professional and personal settings alike. On the financial side, Venus in the second house can bring income through creative work, teaching and counseling, design or beauty-related services, or anything involving your personal skills and aesthetic sensibility. The fifth house connection Venus carries here means that creative projects or romantic relationships can have a direct financial dimension during this period. Something you love doing can also bring you money during this transit. The 12th house energy of Venus in the second also means that some of this income flows out as expenses on things you genuinely enjoy. You may spend on beauty products, entertainment, home comforts, or gifts for family members. This is not inherently negative, but spending mindfully is worth keeping in mind. Now Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your second house, and for Gemini this is one of the most financially significant transit positions possible. Jupiter rules your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships through Sagittarius, and your 10th house of career and public reputation through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the second house has been bringing genuine potential for wealth expansion, family growth, and career-connected financial gains since June 2026. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in the second house, the financial and family energy reaches a particularly warm and positive peak. Practically, this can show up as a salary increase, a successful client payment, an unexpected financial gift, or simply a period where money is coming in steadily and the family finances feel more stable and secure. If there is a financial decision connected to a business partnership or a career opportunity that has been pending, this period can bring positive resolution. The Jupiter-Venus combination in the second house also carries real potential for growth and family. This can mean a new relationship moving towards commitment, an engagement, or wedding in the family, or a pregnancy being announced. Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and with Venus alongside it in the house of family, new additions to the family circle are genuinely possible during this broader transit window. For those who have been experiencing tension within the family, the Venus and Jupiter combination in the second house creates a natural environment for reconciliation. Family matters that have been creating stress can find a genuine path towards resolution during this period, particularly if someone is willing to initiate the conversation with warmth and without judgment. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your second house. Mercury is particularly important for Gemini because it rules your first house through Gemini and your fourth house of home through Virgo. When Mercury arrives in the second house alongside Venus and Jupiter, the Saraswati Yoga forms in your house of wealth and family. This configuration gives you an exceptional ability to talk clearly and intelligently about finances, to articulate your value in professional settings, and to make well-reasoned decisions about money. This window from June 22nd to around June 29th is excellent for financial discussions within the family, planning a significant shared purchase, reviewing a budget together, or making a meaningful investment decision. The fourth house connection Mercury brings here also means that home-related financial decisions are particularly well supported during this window. If there are pending decisions about real estate, home improvement costs, or family property, this is the right time to move forward. Your ability to communicate about money during this period is at its clearest and most persuasive. Any professional context where you need to present your financial value, negotiate a rate, or make a case for a budget approval will benefit from the Mercury-Venus-Jupiter energy here. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer. Because Mercury is your first house lord, this retrograde deserves genuine attention. From June 29th onwards there may be delays in financial transactions, miscommunications around money within the family, or a situation where a financial plan you had set in motion needs to be reconsidered. Avoid signing large financial documents or making irreversible monetary commitments during the last few days of this transit. Be patient if a payment you expected is delayed, as it will come through once Mercury goes direct. Overall, for Gemini, this Venus transit in Cancer is a genuinely warm and practically positive period for wealth, family harmony, and personal expression. With Venus and exalted Jupiter together in your money house, the potential for financial growth and family well-being is real and actionable. Use this period to invest meaningfully in your family life, to present your value clearly, and to allow the warmth of this energy to deepen your most important personal bonds. For Cancer, Venus entering Cancer means Venus is entering your own sign in your first house, the most personal placement any planet can occupy in your chart. The first house represents your physical body, your overall personality, the way you carry yourself through the world, and the first impression you make on others. When Venus transits your first house, you carry a natural magnetism during this period that is not manufactured but genuine. People find you warm, pleasant, and easy to be around. Venus rules your 11th house of income and social networks through Taurus, and your 4th house of home and mother through Libra. When Venus occupies your first house, it is drawing the energy of your social circles, your income potential, your home, and your emotional foundation into your personal presence and physical self. The result is someone who radiates emotional warmth and social charm simultaneously. On a very practical level, your personal presentation improves during this transit. You feel more inclined to dress well, take care of your appearance, and invest in looking and feeling your best. For people who work in any field where personal presence matters, whether that is teaching, healthcare, sales, customer relations, creative work, or any form of public engagement, this is a period when you naturally make a stronger and more lasting impression. Romantic energy is elevated in a direct and personal way. Since Venus is in your own sign, a new romantic attraction is genuinely possible during this transit, particularly one that begins in your local community, daily life, or domestic environment. The Cancer quality of Venus here draws people who are warm, emotionally available, and family-oriented. For those who are single and actively open to a relationship, this is one of the better windows for a genuine and meaningful connection to begin. Your home life carries a special warmth during this period as well. The 4th house energy Venus brings into your first house means that your house literally becomes more beautiful and emotionally comfortable. You want your space to reflect the pleasant quality you feel inside, and you may make small but satisfying changes to your home environment. Now Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your first house, and for Cancer individuals this is a deeply meaningful and life-shaping combination. Jupiter rules your 6th house of health and daily work through Sagittarius, and your 9th house of higher learning and fortune through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the first house brings wisdom, a sense of life purpose, genuine optimism, and a quiet self-confidence that does not need external validation. It has been expanding your sense of who you are and what your life is truly for since June 2026. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in your first house, both your inner experience and your outward expression reach a high point simultaneously. The people around you will notice a visible change in your energy. You seem lighter, more joyful, more self-assured, and more genuinely open. This is not performance. It is the natural result of 2 benefic planets in their best form operating in the house that represents you. The exalted Jupiter in the first house combined with Venus here is particularly good for health and physical vitality. Because Jupiter is also your 6th house ruler, you should be mindful of overindulgence in food and comfort. The combination can lead to a tendency to enjoy too much of everything, and the body can reflect that. Balance enjoyment with moderation. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your first house. Mercury rules your 12th house of foreign lands and private matters through Gemini, and your 3rd house of communication through Virgo. When Mercury arrives in the first house alongside Venus and Jupiter, the Saraswati Yoga forms in your first house itself. This is an extraordinary configuration for self-expression, communication, and public presence. During this window from June 22nd to around June 29th, your ability to communicate, to teach, to write, and to present yourself publicly is at its absolute peak for this period. If you create content, speak to audiences, teach in any setting, or simply need to have important personal conversations, this window gives you both the confidence and the articulateness to do so with exceptional effectiveness. People receive your message with openness and genuine appreciation. This is also an outstanding window for new beginnings of any meaningful kind, whether that is a new project, a new relationship, a new health practice, or a new professional direction. The energy of 3 benefic planets in your first house creates one of the most supportive foundations for fresh starts that any transit can produce. From June 29th, Mercury turns retrograde in Cancer in your first house. You may feel less outwardly expressive and more inwardly reflective during this period. Second-guessing of recent decisions can occur. Old matters involving your home, family, or a recent communication may come back up for reassessment. This inward turn is actually quite natural for Cancer energy, and can be genuinely useful if you use it for honest self-reflection rather than anxious rumination. Overall, for Cancer individuals, this Venus transit in Cancer is a deeply personal and nourishing period. Your personal magnetism is high, your emotional well-being is strong, and the combination of Venus and exalted Jupiter in your own sign gives you genuine opportunities for love, personal growth, social recognition, and inner happiness. This is a window that you are unlikely to feel again in its current form for quite some time. Be present to it, invest in what matters most to you, and take full and deliberate advantage of everything it offers. For Leo, Cancer falls in your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of withdrawal, spiritual retreat, foreign lands, hidden pleasures, private activities, expenses, and matters that happen away from public view. Venus rules your 10th house of career and public reputation through Taurus, and your 3rd house of communication and skills through Libra. When Venus moves into your 12th house, the energy of your career and your communication skills gets drawn into a more private, behind-the-scenes direction rather than a publicly visible one. The first practical thing you will notice is a gentle pulling away from your usual outward professional and social activities. This does not mean things go wrong at work or in your personal life. It simply means your natural energy during this period is more suited to reflection, rest, private creative work, and spiritual engagement rather than high-visibility action and public performance. One of the most genuinely rewarding expressions of Venus in the 12th house for Leo is an increased interest in spiritual practices, meditation, artistic retreats, or any activity that involves beautiful solitude. If you have been running on empty and craving a real pause, this transit gives you both the permission and the genuine desire to take it. Visits to peaceful places, time spent near water, reading spiritual or philosophical works, or simply allowing yourself extended rest all have a nourishing quality during this period. Venus in the 12th house also relates to private pleasures and the comforts of your personal space. Your home becomes a sanctuary during this period. The pleasure you take in comfort, warmth, good food, and private relaxation is heightened. There is nothing wrong with allowing yourself to enjoy these things during this transit. It is genuinely what this energy is designed for. Foreign connections and foreign lands become significant during this period. Since Venus rules your career house and is now in the house of foreign lands, there is a real possibility that work-related opportunities involving international clients, foreign companies, or collaborations with people from other countries or cities can come up. If you have been considering an international professional opportunity, this transit can bring something concrete in that direction, even if it begins quietly through a private conversation or an unexpected contact. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 12th house, and for Leo this is an interesting and ultimately positive placement. Jupiter rules your 5th house of creativity, romance, and children through Sagittarius, and your 8th house of research and transformation through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the 12th house has been bringing a quality of deep wisdom, spiritual expansion, and meaningful behind-the-scenes growth since June 2026. This is a transit that genuinely supports spiritual evolution, quiet intellectual development, and the kind of deep personal transformation that happens when you are honest with yourself in private. The exalted Jupiter in the 12th house also supports unexpected gains coming through foreign sources, through hidden channels, or through work done away from public view. If you are involved in research, writing, spiritual teaching, or any creative work that requires solitude and sustained focus, this broader transit period has been excellent for that kind of output. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in your 12th house, the combination brings a beautiful and pleasurable quality to everything connected to the 12th house. Spiritual practices feel deeply rewarding. Time spent in retreat or in quiet creative engagement feels nourishing rather than isolating. Creative work produced during this period in private settings can be some of the best quality work you produce all year. For couples, this transit highlights intimate and private bonding time. The quality of private time together increases in emotional depth and warmth. For those who are single, attractions during this period may have a discreet, private, or even unconventional quality about them. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 12th house. Mercury rules your 11th house of income and gains through Gemini, and your 2nd house of wealth through Virgo. When Mercury joins the Venus-Jupiter combination in the 12th house, the Saraswati Yoga forms in this most private house of your chart. This is an exceptionally powerful combination for any writing, research, meditation, or intellectual work done in private settings. The 11th house connection Mercury brings here means that income can flow during this period through private or behind-the-scenes channels, through foreign sources, or through intellectual work that you have been quietly developing. Any knowledge-based project you have been working on in private may be ready for its first step towards a wider audience just before Mercury turns retrograde. Be mindful of finances during this window. The second house connection of Mercury in the 12th house can mean money flowing towards expenses and investments rather than visible income. Large foreign purchases, health-related expenditures, or spiritual program fees may come up. Manage these with awareness rather than impulsively. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 12th house. Old matters related to foreign dealings, past large expenses, or spiritual experiences from the past may come up for review. Something you thought was resolved in a foreign or private context may resurface. This retrograde period in the 12th house calls for patience, acceptance, and a willingness to revisit things that need re-examination. Overall, for Leo, this Venus transit in Cancer is a period of meaningful quiet, private enrichment, spiritual growth, and hidden but genuinely valuable creativity. Use it for self-care, deep creative work, spiritual development, and the honest restoration of your inner world. The exalted Jupiter ensures that this quieter period is not wasted but rather serves your long-term growth in profound and lasting ways that you will recognize more clearly in the months ahead. For Virgo, Cancer falls in your 11th house, which is the house of gains, income from multiple sources, desire fulfillment, social networks, elder siblings, large organizations, and your most cherished long-term goals. Venus rules your 9th house of fortune and higher learning through Taurus, and your 2nd house of wealth and family through Libra. When Venus enters your 11th house, it is drawing your luck, your wealth energy, and your personal values directly into the house of gains and income. This is one of the most practically positive transit placements for finances and social expansion that all people can experience. The most direct and concrete result you will see is that income-related opportunities increase during this period. Whether that comes through a bonus, a salary hike, a new client, a successful business negotiation, or simply a project that finally results in a payment, the 11th house Venus transit consistently supports financial movement in a positive direction. If you have been waiting for something to materialize financially, this is a window where resolution is more likely than at most other times of year. Social networking becomes genuinely rewarding during this transit. You will enjoy connecting with people, attending events, and expanding your professional and personal circles. The charm and pleasantness of Venus in the 11th house makes you easy and enjoyable to be around in social settings, and people naturally want to include you and associate with you. This is an energy worth using deliberately. Reach out to people you have been meaning to connect with, attend the events you have been putting off, and allow your social circle to expand naturally during this period. Your relationship with elder siblings is highlighted warmly during this transit. There can be a closer, more mutually supportive dynamic with an older brother or sister. If an elder sibling has been going through difficulty, you may feel genuinely motivated to help, or they may reach out to you for support, and the exchange turns out to be meaningful for both of you. More broadly, the entire landscape of your social connections during this transit carries a warm and productive quality. People who are senior to you in professional or social circles may prove to be unexpectedly helpful, opening doors or offering introductions that you had not anticipated. Do not underestimate the value of established connections during this transit. Reaching out to someone you respect and have not spoken to in a while can produce genuinely useful results. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 11th house, and for Virgo this is one of the most significant transit combinations possible. Jupiter rules your 4th house of home and mother through Sagittarius, and your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the 11th house has been bringing genuine expansion in your income, your social credibility, and your ability to achieve your most important goals since June 2026. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in the 11th house, the gain potential becomes stronger and more immediately accessible. The combination directly links your fortune, your partnerships, and your earning ability in one focused point in your chart. If you are in business, this period can bring excellent clients, meaningful professional collaborations, and real financial returns. If you are in employment, promotions, performance bonuses, recognition awards, and salary reviews can all come up with positive outcomes during this window. The 7th house energy Jupiter carries here is also important. Your business partner or your spouse can be a direct source of your gains during this period. A spouse who works may bring particularly good financial news. A business partner may close a deal that benefits both of you. These are genuine and practical possibilities worth keeping in mind. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 11th house. For Virgo, Mercury is of exceptional importance because it rules both your 1st house. and your 10th house of career through Gemini and Virgo. When Mercury arrives in the 11th house alongside Venus and Jupiter, the Saraswati Yoga forms in your house of gains. This is an outstanding configuration for career growth and professional income. During this window from June 22nd to around June 29th, any communication, presentation, negotiation, or outreach related to your professional goals can produce exceptional results. If you are pitching a project, approaching a potential client, negotiating your salary, or seeking a career advancement, this is genuinely one of the best windows of the year to take those actions. The combination of Jupiter's wisdom and authority, Venus's charm and attractiveness, and Mercury's sharpness and clarity in your house of gains creates a rare and powerful window for professional advancement. Mercury's 10th house rulership also means that visible career recognition and public professional credibility can increase during this period. Things you have been working towards in your career can now move forward with more speed and more support from others around you. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer. Because Mercury rules both your first house and your career house, this retrograde is one you should take seriously. From June 29th onwards, there may be delays in expected professional payments, miscommunications with a colleague or client, or some unexpected complication around a career-related decision. Avoid signing new employment contracts, large business agreements, or formal professional documents during the retrograde period. A financial gain that gets delayed will come through once Mercury goes direct. Overall, for Virgo, this Venus transit in Cancer is among the most financially and professionally productive transit periods you can experience. With Venus and exalted Jupiter in your house of gains, the potential for income growth, social expansion, and career advancement is real and substantial. Use this period actively, reach out to people, put your work forward deliberately, and make the connections that can support your most important professional and personal goals. For Libra, Cancer falls in your 10th house, which is the house of career, professional reputation, authority, public standing, and your relationship with father and authority figures. Venus is your first house lord for Libra, ruling both your first house of self through Libra and your 8th house of depth, transformation, and research through Taurus. When your own first house lord enters the 10th house, your personality, your values, and your sense of self get directly channeled into the most professionally visible area of your chart. What you do professionally and who you are personally begin to align during this transit. The most immediate practical effect you will experience is an improvement in your professional image and reputation. Colleagues, managers, clients, and authority figures respond to you with more warmth and positive regard than usual. You are perceived as pleasant, professional, and trustworthy simultaneously. If you work in any field involving direct human interaction, including management, client-facing work, healthcare, design, education, or creative services, your interactions during this transit go more smoothly and leave a more lasting positive impression. Career opportunities and advancement become genuinely accessible during this period. Whether that manifests as a promotion, a new project being handed to you, recognition from a senior figure at work, or a new client expressing interest in working with you, the 10th house Venus transit for Libra consistently brings the kind of professional visibility and goodwill that leads to real advancement. If you have been doing solid work quietly and waiting for it to be acknowledged, this is the transit when that acknowledgement can finally arrive. The 8th house energy Venus carries into the 10th can also mean that depth, research, and behind-the-scenes skill get public recognition during this period. Work that required sustained invisible effort, thorough investigation, or specialist knowledge can now come to light and receive genuine appreciation from those in a position to reward it. Your relationship with your father or with a senior authority figure at work may be highlighted in a positive way during this transit. There can be warm and constructive interactions with your father, or with a boss or mentor who treats you with particular favor during this period. If there have been tensions with authority figures previously, Venus in the 10th creates a natural window for those tensions to ease into a more functional and comfortable dynamic. This is a good time to have a conversation with your father or with a senior figure at work that you have been avoiding. The receptivity on both sides is higher than usual, and Venus here creates the kind of atmosphere where even difficult conversations can end on a constructive and warm note. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 10th house, and for Libra this is one of the most powerful and directly career-positive transit configurations possible. Jupiter rules your 3rd house of communication, skills, and effort through Sagittarius, and your 6th house of service and daily work through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the 10th house has been bringing real career growth, professional authority, and expanded recognition to Libra since June 2026. The wisdom and expansive quality of exalted Jupiter in your career house is one of the most straightforward career positive influences any planet can generate in transit. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in the 10th house, your professional gains become both more visible and more socially celebrated. This combination is particularly powerful for anyone in a public-facing leadership role, in teaching or counseling at a professional level, or in any career where reputation and personal presence determine success. The charm of Venus combined with the authority and wisdom of exalted Jupiter makes you someone people instinctively trust and want to follow. This is also a genuinely good period for initiating a new professional venture, making a strategic career shift, or accepting new responsibilities that expand your authority and professional scope. The timing is strongly supportive. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 10th house. Mercury rules your 9th house of fortune, higher learning, and long-distance matters through Gemini, and your 12th house of foreign lands and private arrangements through Virgo. When Mercury arrives in the 10th house to complete the Saraswati Yoga, your professional communication ability reaches an exceptional peak. Your words carry real weight at work. You can articulate your ideas, your value, and your vision clearly and convincingly to people who have the authority to act on them. The window from June 22nd to around June 29th is particularly powerful for career conversations, formal presentations, salary negotiations, client pitches, and any professional interaction where you need to make a strong impression. The 9th house connection Mercury brings here adds a dimension of fortune to your professional communications. A single well-placed conversation during this window can open a door that produces significant long-term opportunity. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 10th house. From this point until the Venus transit ends, there can be some complications at work, including delays in professional approvals, miscommunications with a senior figure, or some confusion around a professional agreement that seemed nearly finalized. Projects moving forward may hit unexpected pauses. Avoid signing important professional documents or finalizing major career agreements during the retrograde window. If your professional reputation comes under any kind of questioning or misunderstanding, stay patient and allow the situation to settle before responding. Overall, for Libra, this Venus transit in Cancer is one of the most professionally significant and externally rewarding transit periods of the entire year. With Venus as your first house lord and exalted Jupiter both active in your career house, the potential for professional recognition, advancement, and lasting reputation growth is real and substantial. Use this period deliberately to put yourself forward at work and to build the professional relationships that can carry your career forward for years to come. For Scorpio, Cancer falls in your 9th house, which is the house of higher learning, fortune, long-distance travel, your relationship with teachers and gurus, religious and philosophical interests, your father, and your overall sense of life's deeper meaning. Venus rules your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships through Taurus, and your 12th house of foreign lands, spiritual practice, and hidden pleasures through Libra. When Venus enters your 9th house, it draws the energy of your relationships, your connection to foreign lands, and your sense of spiritual depth into the space of learning, fortune, and higher purpose. This is a deeply expansive and fortunate combination. The most direct and practical result of Venus in your 9th house is that long-distance travel becomes both appealing and genuinely possible during this period. Venus brings an enjoyment-oriented, relationship-enriched quality to travel. If you have been considering a journey that is more pilgrimage-like, philosophically meaningful, or connected to education or spiritual practice, this transit opens that door naturally. Travel undertaken during this period tends to be memorable, emotionally significant, and more than just a physical journey. The 7th house energy Venus carries here also means that a partner or business associate can be involved in these 9th house matters. You may travel together with your spouse or partner, or a business partner may bring an opportunity involving education, a foreign venture, or a philosophical collaboration. Your relationships during this transit take on a more expansive and growth-oriented quality. There is genuine interest in growing together rather than just staying comfortable. Your connection with a teacher, mentor, or spiritual guide is highlighted during this transit. A significant person may enter your life during this period who carries wisdom that is genuinely useful for your path. This could be a formal academic teacher, a spiritual counselor, or simply someone whose life experience and perspective leaves a lasting mark on how you see things. This person may arrive in an unexpected context, and the significance of the connection may not be immediately obvious. Stay open to genuine wisdom regardless of the form or setting in which it arrives. The combination of Venus and exalted Jupiter in the 9th house creates an atmosphere in which the right people find you and in which you are genuinely ready to receive what they have to offer. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 9th house, and for Scorpio this is one of the most fortunate transit combinations possible. Jupiter rules your 2nd house of wealth and family through Sagittarius, and your 5th house of creativity, romance, and children through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the 9th house brings genuine good fortune, elevated thinking, and a profound sense of life purpose. It has been expanding your philosophical outlook, your connection to higher learning, and your overall sense of life direction since June 2026. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in your 9th house, your luck, your love of learning, and your relationship with higher wisdom all receive a warm, beautiful, and practically productive amplification. This combination is particularly meaningful for those who work in any teaching, spiritual, legal, counseling, or advisory role. Your ability to share wisdom and offer genuine guidance to others reaches a very high quality during this period. People will benefit meaningfully from your perspective and will recognize and appreciate what you bring to their growth. Your fortune is at an elevated level during this transit. Things that require the cooperation of timing and circumstance tend to come together more easily than usual. Unexpected good news, fortunate encounters, and positive outcomes in situations you had been uncertain about are all more likely than usual during this Venus and Jupiter combination in your 9th house. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 9th house. Mercury rules your 8th house of research, occult knowledge, and deep investigation through Gemini, and your 11th house of income and gains through Virgo. The Saraswati Yoga forms in your 9th house from this date, and for Scorpio this is an extraordinarily powerful combination for deep learning, spiritual study, research, and the intellectual exploration of profound subjects. If you have been studying astrology, philosophy, law, psychology, occult sciences, or any research-oriented subject, the window from June 22nd to around June 29th is when your understanding can deepen significantly and quickly. The Mercury 8th house connection combined with the 9th house placement means that research into hidden or esoteric knowledge is especially rewarding during this period. Ancient texts, spiritual literature, or any subject that combines depth with higher meaning is where your mind will naturally go, and where it will find unusually rich material. From an income perspective, Mercury ruling the 11th house and the 9th house of fortune means that gains can come through knowledge sharing, counseling, spiritual work, or a foreign-related opportunity during this window. Act on these opportunities before Mercury turns retrograde. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 9th house. Old beliefs, philosophical positions, or educational matters may come up for reassessment during this period. A plan involving travel, a study program, or a foreign opportunity may face unexpected delays or need revision. A disagreement around matters of belief or philosophy is possible. Stay genuinely open-minded and avoid becoming rigid or defensive about your perspectives. Something that seemed settled in your worldview may come under fresh examination, and this is actually part of authentic intellectual and spiritual growth. Overall, for Scorpio, this Venus transit in Cancer is a period of exceptional fortune, meaningful philosophical expansion, and genuine connection with teachers, higher learning, and deeper wisdom. With Venus and exalted Jupiter both in your 9th house of fortune, this is among the luckiest transit signatures Scorpio can experience. Use this period for travel, education, spiritual growth, and deepening your knowledge in directions that give your life lasting meaning and direction. For Sagittarius, Cancer falls in your 8th house. The 8th house deals with transformation, hidden matters, occult knowledge, research, in-laws, inheritance, other people's financial resources, and the kind of deep changes that alter the course of your life. Venus rules your 6th house of daily work and service through Taurus, and your 11th house of gains and income through Libra. When Venus enters the 8th house, it brings a desire for depth, investigation, and the exploration of hidden dimensions of life. The service and income energies Venus carries are channeled inward and downward, into research, private discovery, and transformative experiences. The most naturally positive expression of Venus in the 8th house for Sagittarius is a strong and genuine interest in research, occult sciences, psychology, metaphysics, finance research, or any field where you are uncovering what lies beneath the visible surface. Venus adds a quality of appreciation and aesthetic pleasure to the process of uncovering hidden knowledge. You enjoy the discovery process more than usual, and you are willing to go deeper than you normally would. Your relationship with in-laws becomes a positive and warm focus during this transit. There can be gifts, gestures of care, financial support, or genuinely pleasant social interactions coming from your partner's family. If you are married and there have been tensions with in-laws in the recent past, Venus here creates a natural opening for those tensions to ease into something more comfortable and mutually appreciative. The 8th house also governs inheritance and resources from others. Practical financial benefits connected to an inheritance, a settlement, a gift from in-laws, or shared finances with a partner can come up during this transit. If there is a pending financial matter involving shared resources or a joint account, this period can bring positive movement. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 8th house, and for Sagittarius this is particularly significant because Jupiter is your own first house lord. When the ruler of your first house is exalted in the 8th, it brings a quality of depth, purpose, and transformative power to your overall life direction. Jupiter rules your first house through Sagittarius, and your 4th house of home and mother through Pisces. When your first house lord is exalted, even in a complex house like the 8th, your life force carries a genuine sense of direction and underlying strength. The exalted Jupiter in the 8th house for Sagittarius is genuinely powerful for any serious study of research-oriented subjects, hidden sciences, spiritual transformation, or complex financial matters. This transit makes you someone capable of genuine authority and mastery in any field that requires sustained deep investigation and the ability to sit comfortably with complexity and uncertainty. If you have been working towards expertise in such an area, this transit validates and advances that direction. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in the 8th house, the combination supports financial gains through others, through inheritance, or through joint resources becoming more clearly beneficial. For those expecting a financial settlement, an inheritance resolution, or a joint account balance to become more favorable, this period can bring movement in the right direction. Be physically careful during this transit. The 8th house is associated with sudden events and accidents. While Jupiter and Venus are both benefics and their presence here is fundamentally positive, the nature of the 8th house means that vigilance around travel, handling of machinery, and general physical safety is a wise and practical precaution. Beyond the financial and research dimensions, the Venus and Jupiter combination in the 8th house carries a real possibility of life changing in a meaningful direction during this period. Since Jupiter is your first house lord and is exalted in the house of transformation, major changes that arise during this transit are not random disruptions. They are pointed developments that move you closer to what your life is actually meant to be. A career change, a relocation, a shift in your primary relationship, or a significant philosophical reorientation can all emerge during this broader transit window. Do not resist these changes out of attachment to familiar comfort. The exalted Jupiter ensures that the direction being opened for you is ultimately the right one, even when the transition itself requires courage and adjustment. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 8th house. Mercury rules your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships through Gemini, and your 10th house of career and public standing through Virgo. The Saraswati Yoga in the 8th house from this date gives a deep, thorough, and powerful quality to your intellectual and investigative abilities during this window. Research undertaken between June 22nd and June 29th can reach impressive depth. If you are writing, studying, or working on any project requiring original thinking and thorough investigation, this window is your most productive period of the entire Venus transit. The Mercury 7th house connection in the 8th house can also mean that your partner brings important information, insights, or financial news to the table during this period. Conversations with your partner about shared resources, long-term financial planning, and life changes that require joint decisions are well supported during this window. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 8th house. This retrograde can bring delayed settlements, revisited financial agreements, or old matters involving shared resources, partnerships, or an inheritance coming back up for re-examination. Be patient with any financial matter that seems to stall during this period. Avoid making impulsive decisions around shared financial resources, joint accounts, or investment choices during the retrograde window. Overall, for Sagittarius, this Venus transit in Cancer is a period of meaningful depth, investigative discovery, quiet but real financial gains through others, and genuine transformative potential. The combination of Venus and exalted Jupiter, With Jupiter as your own first house lord, in the house of transformation means that the changes this transit sets in motion are ultimately aligned with your long-term growth and your life's deeper direction. For Capricorn, Cancer falls in your 7th house, which is the house of marriage, committed relationships, business partnerships, open agreements, and your dealings with other people in any formal or significant context. Venus is the natural significator of all 7th house matters, and when Venus transits the 7th house, it is moving into one of its most thematically natural environments in your chart. Venus rules your 5th house of romance, creativity, and children through Taurus, and your 10th house of career and public reputation through Libra. When Venus enters your 7th house, it simultaneously brings the warmth of romance, the ambition of your career, and the creativity of your personal expression into the space of your closest relationships and most important partnerships. The result is a period when relationship matters feel genuinely central to your life, and when you are at your most naturally warm, charming, and giving in one-on-one interactions. For those in a committed relationship or marriage, this is one of the most genuinely pleasant and affectionate transit periods for the relationship. There is more desire to spend meaningful time together, more appreciation expressed and received, and more emotional openness on both sides. Couples who have been caught in routine and emotional distance can find real warmth returning during this transit. A romantic outing, a weekend trip together, or simply making space for honest and caring conversation can have a noticeably positive effect on the relationship during this period. For those who are single and open to a relationship, Venus in the 7th house is one of the more consistently effective transit signatures for meeting a potential partner. The kind of person who enters your life during this transit is likely to carry Cancer qualities of emotional depth, warmth, and a strong orientation towards family and home. This can be a deeply compatible match for Capricorn's own qualities of commitment, loyalty, and long-term thinking. Business partnerships are also directly supported during this Venus transit. If you are working on a joint venture, negotiating a collaboration, or formalizing a professional agreement with another person or organization, the energy during this period is supportive of smooth negotiations, mutual goodwill, and outcomes that benefit both parties. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 7th house, and for Capricorn this is a profoundly positive configuration for relationships and partnerships. Jupiter rules your 12th house of foreign lands and spiritual matters through Sagittarius, and your 3rd house of communication and effort through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the 7th house has been bringing genuine expansion, wisdom, and real growth to your personal and professional partnerships since June 2026. The presence of exalted Jupiter here means your relationships have been developing in a more conscious, growth-oriented direction. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in the 7th house, the relationship energy becomes truly exceptional. The Jupiter-Venus combination in the 7th house is one of the most classic and consistently reliable signatures for significant relationship advancement. If marriage is a genuine consideration in your life right now, this transit window carries real potential for a decision or event in that direction. For those already married, this period can bring a genuine renewal and deepening of the relationship's warmth and shared sense of purpose. From a professional perspective, the 10th house energy Venus carries here combined with Jupiter's wisdom in the 7th means that business partnerships can expand your career reputation and bring tangible income benefits. A collaborator or business associate may open a professional door during this period that advances your career in a meaningful way. Partnerships you initiate during this transit tend to begin with genuine goodwill on both sides. If you have been working independently and have been wondering whether to take on a partner or formally collaborate with someone, this is one of the more supportive windows in the year to make that decision. The combination of Venus and exalted Jupiter in the 7th house ensures that the partnership energy during this period is fundamentally constructive and well-intentioned. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 7th house. Mercury rules your 6th house of health and daily service through Gemini, and your 9th house of fortune and higher learning through Virgo. The Saraswati Yoga forms in your 7th house from this date. This gives an exceptional quality of intelligent and warm communication to all your relationship interactions during this window. The window from June 22nd to around June 29th is the ideal time for important conversations in any significant partnership, whether personal or professional. Your ability to articulate your needs, your vision, and your genuine appreciation for others is at its peak. If there is a conversation you have been postponing with a partner, spouse, or important business associate, this window gives you both the clarity and the warmth to have it effectively. The 9th house fortune connection Mercury brings here also means that a conversation during this period can open a door to something genuinely unexpected and positive. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 7th house. Relationship communications may slow down or become complicated during the retrograde window. Old issues in a partnership may resurface. A business agreement that seemed close to finalization may need unexpected revision. Be patient with your partner and avoid escalating disagreements during this time. The health of your partner or business associate may also require attention during the retrograde period. Overall, for Capricorn, this Venus transit in Cancer is one of the most relationship significant and personally meaningful transit periods of the year. With both Venus and exalted Jupiter in your house of relationships, the potential for love, harmony, and meaningful partnership growth is at its highest point. Use this period to invest fully in your most important relationships and to move forward with any partnership conversations, decisions, or commitments you have been thoughtfully waiting to act upon. For Aquarius, Cancer falls in your 6th house, which is the house of daily work, health and wellness, service to others, conflicts, debts, legal matters, and the obstacles and challenges you face in everyday life. Venus rules your 4th house of home, mother, and emotional security through Taurus, and your 9th house of fortune, higher learning, and philosophy through Libra. When Venus enters the 6th house, it brings the energy of home comforts and your sense of higher purpose into the arena of daily work and service. This transit is not glamorous, but it is genuinely productive and meaningful when approached with the right attitude. The most positive and natural expression of Venus in the 6th house for Aquarius is work that is service-oriented and carries a quality of genuine care for others. If you work in healthcare, social work, legal aid, counseling, education, or any field where you directly help people facing difficulties, this transit places you in an excellent position to do that work with real dedication, skill, and compassion. The people you serve during this transit will feel genuinely cared for and will respond to you with appreciation. The 4th house energy Venus carries here means that home-related matters can intersect with your daily work or health during this period. You may find yourself dealing with a health concern of a family member, or there may be something at home that requires a practical and service-oriented approach to handle. Your willingness to be of service within your family setting is high during this transit and genuinely appreciated by those around you. Health and wellness are a natural focus during any 6th house transit. Venus here brings a desire to beautify and care for your body as well as your living and working environment. If you have been meaning to start a new health routine, make dietary improvements, establish a regular exercise practice, or invest in your personal wellness, this is a supportive period to take those steps. The motivation to take better care of yourself is genuine during this transit. Finances connected to debts and obligations may also require attention. Venus rules your 9th house, and with it placed in the 6th house, there can be financial movement connected to loans, legal fees, or ongoing financial obligations during this period. Handling these matters diplomatically and with attention is more productive than ignoring them. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 6th house, and for Aquarius this is a complex but ultimately positive placement. Jupiter rules your 11th house of income and social networks through Sagittarius, and your 2nd house of wealth and family through Pisces. An exalted Jupiter in the 6th house is one of the most powerful signatures for overcoming obstacles, winning in competitive situations, dealing effectively with health challenges, and turning difficult circumstances to your advantage through wisdom and persistence. The exalted Jupiter in the 6th house has been giving you resilience, strategic intelligence, and genuine resources to navigate challenges in your daily work environment since June 2026. When Venus joins this exalted Jupiter in the 6th house, it adds social grace, diplomacy, and charm to your ability to handle these matters. Rather than engaging in direct conflict with opponents or difficult situations, you find beautiful and effective diplomatic solutions. This approach tends to work much better than confrontation during this transit. From an income perspective, Jupiter ruling the 11th house of gains while operating in the 6th house of daily work means that genuine financial improvement can come through increased effort, better performance at work, or resolving a financial dispute in your favor during this period. The gains are earned rather than passive, but they are real. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 6th house. Mercury rules your 5th house of creativity, education, and children through Gemini, and your 8th house of research and transformation through Virgo. The Saraswati Yoga. forms in your 6th house from this date. This combination gives your daily work a distinctly intelligent and knowledge-driven quality during this window. This is an excellent period to study for a professional qualification, undertake a specialized course in your field, research legal or medical matters you need to understand better, or apply creative intelligence to solving practical challenges at work. The 5th house connection Mercury brings here means that any work involving teaching, children, creative problem solving, or original thinking alongside a service orientation is particularly rewarding and productive during this window. Be mindful of health and legal matters from June 22nd onwards. The accumulation of planetary energy in the 6th house means these areas are receiving a lot of attention and activity during this period. Proactive management is better than reactive handling. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 6th house. Old health concerns that seem to have improved may resurface briefly during the retrograde period. A legal dispute or financial conflict that seemed resolved may come back up for re-examination. A work-related plan or daily routine adjustment you implemented may need revision. Be patient and take a methodical approach during the retrograde window. Avoid making impulsive decisions about medical treatments, legal proceedings, or major work-related changes during this period. Overall, for Aquarius, this Venus transit in Cancer is a period of dedicated service, focused daily work, health awareness, and practical problem solving. The exalted Jupiter ensures that your genuine efforts are ultimately rewarded and that the obstacles you face are surmountable. Venus adds grace and human warmth to how you navigate the demands of the 6th house. Approach this period with willingness, take care of your health, resolve lingering conflicts diplomatically, and trust that sustained effort during this transit will produce meaningful and lasting results. For Pisces, Cancer falls in your 5th house, which is the house of romance, love relationships, creativity, hobbies and personal passions, children, education, self-expression, and the things in life that bring you genuine joy and fulfillment. This is one of the most naturally pleasant and personally enriching positions for Venus in transit. Venus rules your 3rd house of communication and skills through Taurus, and your 8th house of depth, transformation, and research through Libra. When Venus enters the 5th house, it brings both the playful energy of creative expression and a certain depth and genuine emotional richness to your pursuit of love and personal joy. The most direct and immediate result of Venus in your 5th house is an elevation of romantic energy. If you are in a relationship, the romantic dimension of that connection deepens and your desire to express love, affection, and appreciation for your partner increases noticeably. You want to create something special with or for your partner, whether that is a romantic gesture, a shared creative experience, a meaningful trip, or simply a series of evenings spent in genuine personal enjoyment together. The warmth and pleasure of this period in a relationship can be genuinely memorable. For those who are single and open to a romantic connection, Venus in the 5th house is one of the most consistently effective transit signatures for a new romance beginning. The person who enters your life during this transit is drawn to your warmth, your emotional depth, and your genuine creative and intellectual spirit. This is the kind of attraction that begins with real personal chemistry rather than just surface appearances or external factors. Your children, if you have them, become a source of particular joy and delight during this transit. You feel more emotionally present with them, more genuinely delighted by their expressions and small achievements, and more willing to invest time and creative energy in activities shared with them. If you have been thinking about having children, this transit carries genuine potential for that decision to feel right and for practical steps towards it to move forward. Creative expression is at a high point during this Venus transit. Whatever your creative outlet is, whether writing, music, visual arts, cooking, performance, or anything else, this is a period when ideas flow naturally, the creative process feels enjoyable rather than laborious, and the quality of your output is genuinely pleasing. If you have a creative project that has been sitting on hold, pick it up during this transit. The results may surprise you. Jupiter is already exalted in Cancer in your 5th house, and for Pisces this is an extraordinarily auspicious combination because Jupiter is your own 1st house lord. When the lord of your 1st house is exalted in the 5th house of joy, romance, and creativity, your personal happiness factor reaches one of its highest points. Jupiter rules your 1st house through Pisces and your 10th house of career and public recognition through Sagittarius. When your 1st house lord is exalted in the 5th house, the joy and optimism you feel inside is authentic, and it radiates outward, positively affecting everything you do. The exalted Jupiter in the 5th house for Pisces has been expanding your creative capacity, your sense of personal happiness, and your openness to romantic connections since June 2026. The philosophical and wise quality of exalted Jupiter in the 5th means that your creative and romantic pursuits during this period carry genuine meaning and are not just surface pleasures. When Venus now joins this exalted Jupiter in the 5th house, the joy, creativity, and romantic energy combine into something that is both beautiful in the moment and genuinely significant for your longer-term personal life. Jupiter's 10th house rulership for Pisces also means that your career can directly benefit from the creative energy activated in the 5th house during this transit. Work that carries a creative, expressive, educational, or personally passionate quality can see real growth and public recognition during this period. If you can bring more of your genuine passion and creative self into your professional work during this transit, the results can be both personally satisfying and professionally rewarding. From June 22nd, Mercury enters Cancer and joins Venus and Jupiter in your 5th house. Mercury rules your 4th house of home and mother through Gemini, and your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships through Virgo. The Saraswati Yoga forms in your 5th house from this date. This is an outstanding configuration for learning, creative communication, romance, and the kind of intellectual expression that is also genuinely beautiful. During this window from June 22nd to around June 29th, your ability to express yourself creatively, to communicate with charm and substance simultaneously, and to connect with others through both intellect and warmth is at its highest point of the entire Venus transit. If you write, teach, perform, or create content of any kind, this window tends to produce your best work. The 7th house connection Mercury brings here means that a romantic partner or a close business collaborator may play an inspiring or supportive role in your creative output during this period. This is also an excellent window for any form of education pursued for genuine personal enrichment. A short course, a creative workshop, or dedicated self-study in something you love can produce genuinely impressive results during this period. Mercury turns retrograde on June 29th in Cancer in your 5th house. Romantic communications may get complicated or confusing during the retrograde window. A misunderstanding with a romantic partner or with a child can arise. A creative project may hit an unexpected obstacle and require rethinking. Be patient during this period and avoid overreacting to what may be temporary confusion. Something that appears as a problem in late June is likely to resolve naturally once Mercury goes direct. Overall, for Pisces, this Venus transit in Cancer is a joyful, creative, romantically charged, and deeply happiness-promoting period. With Venus and exalted Jupiter both in your 5th house, and Jupiter as your own 1st house lord, the fulfillment available during these weeks is truly substantial. Invest in love, creativity, joy, and everything that makes your life feel genuinely worth living. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the sidereal zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions. The real impact depends on your dasha cycles and your individual birth chart. For a personalized analysis or consultation, feel free to reach out. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, you can also hype this video to boost it within the community. Your support helps this knowledge reach more people who may benefit. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.